With us now in a Bloomberg West exclusive to talk about the redesign is Foursquare CEO Dennis Crowley. He joins us now from our studios in New York. Dennis, welcome back to the show. You've been teasing this now for a few days, so tell us, what is the all-new Foursquare, and can we officially call this a pivot?
A pivot? I wouldn't call it a pivot. I mean, the company is still very much about the stuff that we've been about since the very beginning. You know, we started off talking about making the real world easier to use, building software that helps people do that. Now we talk about trying to build software that helps you make the most out of where you are at any given moment. And really what the new Foursquare is taking the app that we had before, taking it apart, putting all the pieces back on the table, and then putting it back together so it makes a lot more sense in 2012 than it did in the original app did in 2009. And so we picked up, we're at about 20 million users now, and we're finding that a lot of the new users use the product a lot differently than some of the original users did. And this redesign is an effort to really build stuff that caters to those folks.
So as I understand it, this Explore feature provides better recommendations the more users check in. But if growth is slowing down, if check-ins are slowing down, what makes you think that this is the way to go?
Well, growth isn't slowing down, nor are check-ins. We're still seeing well over 5 million check-ins a day. We pick up about 1 million users a month. The growth has been fantastic. We've been growing strong all through the year. The Explore feature isn't new. In fact, what's happening is that as we get more check-in data, and we have about we have more than 2 billion check-ins at this point. We're getting much better at being able to serve up personalized recommendations to users. So a big part of the redesign is taking this tab that was an experiment for about a year or so and putting it front and center in the app so everyone can see it and everyone can enjoy it.
So if Foursquare is going to be a recommendation service, though, that sounds a lot like Yelp. Am I wrong?
No, I think there's a lot of people that are trying to build stuff that connects people with places. I think what our approach is like a lot of these other sites are kind of a one-size-fits-all. You type something into the box and everyone, no matter who you are, getting the same search results. With Foursquare, depending on all your check-ins, where your friends have been checked in, the places that you've added to lists, the places that you've been in the past, all the search results can be tailored to that particular moment in time. You start seeing different results on a Tuesday morning than you would see on a Wednesday afternoon. And that's stuff that we can do much better than anyone else, because at the core of our data structure is this check-in element, this piece of data that tells us who's been to a particular place at what point in time, and it's really powerful.
Now, if Yelp's valuation is over $1 billion, Dennis, on the public markets, if Foursquare is perceived as being in Yelp's territory, how might that change the value perception of Foursquare to investors?
I don't really think, we try not to compare ourselves to too many folks that are out there, because I think our approach to solving problems in this space is a lot different than other folks before us. Like, the thing that we're starting to get really good at is this piece of connecting people to places and places to people. So if you take that recommendation engine that we have, the one that I can open it up, you can open it up, and it'll tell me interesting places to go in Midtown Manhattan on a Thursday afternoon. You can also use that same type of software to tailor it at a specific business and say, all right, well, based off of all the Foursquare check-ins that we have, who are going to be the best customers for this particular business? And that's something that is going to be really powerful as we start to expand and grow our monetization strategy later on this summer.
And Dennis, I just want to touch on something you said earlier. As I understand it, the number of active Foursquare users grew 750% in the year ending in April 2011, 135% through this past April. It's still strong growth, but if that isn't slowing down, I mean, how do you explain that?
How do we explain? Well, I mean, it's nice, consistent growth. If you go back to 2009, I think we ended the year with less than 1 million users. Like sometime in 2010, we were 7 million. Look at where we are now. We're well over 20 million users. And so it's been very strong, consistent growth. And especially as we get better at tailoring the product and rolling out new features and new stuff for new users, we expect that to increase over time.
Now, a number of high-profile employees have left Foursquare recently. Your co-founder, Naveen, Tristan Walker, head of business development. How concerned are you about that? I mean, whenever good talent leaves a company, red flags, go up.
I mean, we're a company that's 3 years old. Like, you take any company any startup that's lasted 3 years, and they go through the same amount of changes. Actually, we've had a lot less turnover than I think a lot of other startups that are at our stage and at our size right now. People just really like to focus on anything that happens with Foursquare. But listen, some of the folks, as the company gets a little bit bigger, things start to change a little bit. People outgrow certain roles. People want to move on to other things. It's natural.
So where do you see the money coming from with this redesign, Dennis? Is it going to be coming from advertising?
Yeah, well, we're starting to do a lot of experiments with different ways that we can connect people with places and places with people, as I was saying. There's a lot of stuff in this redesign that I think people don't really see yet, right? So the app looks a lot different. Like, there's a lot of new things to play with. But there's some things in there that give us a lot greater control to start adding things over the summer, which we can do from the server side. And these are, like, you can look at the Explore recommendation engine, and you'll see that we're getting very good at starting to suggest different places at different times. So there might be ways for us to insert messages from merchants in there as well.
All right, Dennis, we'll have to leave it there. Foursquare CEO Dennis Crowley introducing the all-new Foursquare. Thanks again for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.